I just spent 5 minutes trying to figure out how I'm going to introduce this, and I don't really know how else to do it other than to say that I'm going to watch a movie today.
But Ryan, we need to check the levels first.
All right, go ahead. Check the levels.
Toast.
Oh,
Toast.
God, yeah. So if you have any notion of what movie that's from, and in fact you've probably looked at the title of the video, we're going to watch Mission Impossible 1, which came out in 96?
1996, yes.
1996. This is Neil.
Hello.
Very good old friend of mine who loves movies and is also a huge fan of Mission Impossible.
I think it is the only consistently good action franchise existing today.
Which is a bold statement.
A very bold statement.
Because I mean, there is the Fast and the Furious.
That is consistent.
Yeah. yeah. Damning with faint praise.
But I wouldn't argue that it is consistently good.
Okay.
Even, what's the only other one? James Bond is wishy-washy these days.
Yeah, I think I tried to convince myself for a long time that I liked James Bond. But the only one of them that I've ever liked was Casino Royale. And Goldfinger, I guess. Even though it's super dated.
Yes.
You know.
But consistent, know what you're going to get when you go in, delivers every single time. Mission Impossible.
Or Mission Possible, in the case of Mission Impossible.
Exactly.
So... The reason this came up, apart from the fact that the Mission Impossible 6 Fallout, is that what it's called? Yeah, that's just come out. So Neil's been talking a lot about it. He's been on at me for ages to watch these movies, and I've actually always wanted to. I've got no problem trying them out. I've just never found a good excuse to. But we were talking about Mission Impossible one day, and I said, "Look, does Mission Impossible 1 actually make any sense?"
The answer is no.
Well, we don't know yet.
Well,
that's what this is. We're going to watch Mission Impossible and see if it makes any sense. My suspicion is that because it's sort of like spy thriller type stuff, you just go along for the ride. You're not actually following what's going on. You know what's happening scene by scene in the moment, but generally overall, you don't know what's going on.
That's the thing about action movies in general. As long as it works while you're watching it, it doesn't really matter if you don't remember what happened before. Yeah.
It's like the Jurassic Park thing. You know, everyone talks about the when the T-Rex escapes from the paddock. There's this cliff that appears, and it's like, where did that come from? It's like, it doesn't matter really.
We need a cliff now.
Yeah.
You didn't need a cliff before.
Now that we need one, it's in the film. So we thought, I'm saying I don't think it makes sense, and then we tried to summarise the plot based on what we remembered and found that we couldn't really remember all that much. So we thought, why don't we watch it, try to summarise the plot, then watch it and find out if it matches up with our expectations. So first of all, there's a scene in Prague.
Yes, Prague.
Yeah, so they're the team is in Prague, and John Voight is the leader. And Tom Cruise is just one of his underlings. Yep. Something goes wrong.
Well, what they're there to do, if I remember, is somebody is trying to sell the knock list.
The knock list is a list of all the agents
and their
operating
aliases, etc.
Yeah, the CIA, like the secret agents. It's
the IMF.
I don't know that.
Agents.
That's the National Monetary Fund?
No, it's the Impossible Mission Force.
Oh, sorry.
Somebody's trying to sell the knock list in Prague, and they are trying to get a photograph of him selling it. That's why they're all wearing the glasses with the cameras in them.
Google Glass.
That's why they're all wearing Google Glass.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the obvious reason why they're actually all wearing Google Glasses so that Emilio Estevez has something to do with his computer.
Yeah, because I don't know, do the films still do this, where it's like there's the nerdy guy who's good with computers?
Yeah,
and they just sort of talk into a headset while waiting in a van round the corner.
It's the, or they do it sitting on top of an elevator.
Which apparently happens in this film.
Yes, that's what Emilio Estevez is sitting on top of the elevator because he gets for some reason at the top of the lift shaft there's these spikes that come down.
Because it's just the Temple of Doom for some reason.
Yeah, like they've set it up so precisely that they couldn't just smush him. He had to get spikes in the eyes. It's a really nice, like, the spikes, like, come straight down, and then he looks up at the last second. Yeah.
I hope you know I'm going to, like, when I edit this, I'm going to time it so that the moment it goes through, you're going to hear you saying like that. So everyone dies, and then what happens? Cuts to a while later.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is then debriefing with his superior in a seafood restaurant.
You remember way too much of this film.
No, it's because there's been a couple of video essays.
Oh, okay.
So I've seen scenes.
Okay.
And that's when he does that thing with the gum. He puts the gum on the window.
Yes.
And then the window explodes and all the fish tanks explode and he just runs. This is the first proper, like, Mission Impossible Tom Cruise running moment.
Dun, 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 dun.
So I think he's been disavowed. I think you can generally...
But why did he do that?
Because they think he has the knock list now because everybody else apart from him died.
Okay, yeah, so he's obviously the suspect, right? So now, from here, we can assume that John Voight set him up.
Yes.
Because it turns out that John Voight is not dead.
He turned the gun, somehow he physically turned a gun on himself and shot himself so he could look at it through the glasses.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it looked like he'd been shot by somebody else when I don't know how. I'm doing it, like, right now. Like, I don't know how you do that with a gun.
And there's a scene where he does, like, a little hand trick.
Yeah.
Against Leon the professional.
Yes.
He's wearing a cool leather jacket.
Jean Reno's first Hollywood role.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't count Leon as a Hollywood film.
There's the fantastic sequence that everyone remembers of them breaking into Langley.
Well, yeah, they get the idea that, oh no, everybody thinks we have the knock list, so let's go steal the real one.
Yeah, because that'll clear my name.
So, because
I suppose it's that thing where it's like, well, if I'm going to get in trouble for it anyway, I might as well actually do it.
Yeah, so he enlists Ving Rhames and Jean Reno.
Mm-hmm.
So he hires them to help him steal the real knock list to give to Max.
And they communicate via Bible verses.
Yes, Job, something or other.
But why are they selling the knock list to Max?
Max is a broker.
Yes, but why? Why are they selling it?
He needs John Voight on tape. Admitting that he's the one that was behind the whole thing. But I don't remember when he finds out he's been double-crossed.
Yeah, this movie.
Because Emmanuel Bear comes back and she's like, oh, I didn't actually die in Prague. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this movie, I think we need to watch it.
Yeah, we need to start watching it.
It's way too confusing.
This is really exciting. I'm excited to find out what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing left to do but to...
get started.
And light the fuse.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say that that's a terrible mask, but I can easily tell that that's Tom Cruise in a mask.
What's Tom Cruise in a mask?
That guy with the mustache.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, he moves like Tom Cruise.
Now, why is it in halves?
Yeah. Maybe it's like the Coca-Cola recipe.
Like one person never has the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So have we misremembered then, and Ethan steals the other half?
Yes. So somebody's already got half of it.
Max.
Is that Max?
I don't know. Maybe Max already has half.
Yeah. So somebody's already stolen half of it. And then he's going to go steal the other half. And John Voight's supposed to go and stop them.
Disavow.
I feel like we should maybe have like a disavow counter. Like every time they say disavow.
What we really need, for me, is a Kirsten Dunst counter.
Oh.
Wow.
High tech.
Those are really flattering and not like big enough to have a camera in.
It's like a poo in the giant hat.
Hasta lasagna, don't get any on you. You'll have about 5 seconds.
I may have just like removed that line from my memory. Like the second I heard it, and it's happened again. I don't remember what Emilio Estevez just said.
Abort. I wish computers really did that.
Yeah. What gave plot information? Cathron ray tubes.
Cut the power, Jack. Come on, Jack. Cut the power. Jack. Jack.
Pretty good looking movie.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
I read that the lighting setup for this was massive, and like to get all these buildings lit. And while filming, there was like hundreds and hundreds of local photography enthusiasts that came out because Prague had never looked better to photograph.
That'd be you these days.
That'd be me, yeah, running out with my camera.
That guy kind of looks like Joachim Low, the manager for the German football team.
Alright.
I'll insert a picture. Aquarium!
Come to the aquarium.
Come for the food, stay for the aquarium.
Stay for the 17 tons of water above your head.
I've been disavowed.
I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna talk to Kittredge myself, and I'm gonna tell him you had nothing to do
And I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do this.
He looks like the kind of guy who would chase Bruce Willis with a steyr aug.
I'm knock. Was. Now, disavowed.
How far below my actor can I place this camera? She's like the white Thandie Newton. They look very similar.
I don't know who Thandie Newton is.
Like from Mission Impossible 2.
3.
I'm talking about the 686 prototypes with the artificial intelligence risk ship.
You know, Ryan, the 686 prototypes.
You know what's really funny is that I bet that line is because they used to have this line of computers in the 90s.
Yeah.
The 286, the 386, and the 486. But then everyone moved on to Pentiums, like Intel Pentiums after that. So they obviously just went, well, the next one's going to be the 586, so we'll just put another number in front of that, and that'll seem really, futuristic.
With the artificial intelligence wristwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. The intrusion countermeasures are
now on.
Oh.
I mean...
Okay.
That's just movie magic.
Yeah.
You know?
It's movie magic that we could see them at all.
Nice to see that the intrusion countermeasures are on.
Still on, yeah. Oh my god, he's so shifty.
Is that John Goodman?
No. It's just a fat guy.
Claire was never convinced her charms would work on you. But I was supremely confident, having tasted the goods.
Just so you know, he's a bad guy. Very nice.
Hey, do you remember when the Mission Impossible series was about proper tradecraft and not just like ridiculous stunts?
Yeah, I know, but this is the only time it happens in this movie. And it's the finale.
It's fine.
Just wait till we get to Mission Impossible 2.
Cheers.
To you, Luther. Being off the disavowed list.
4.
Doesn't count if they're no longer disavowed.
So, Neil, what did you think of Mission Impossible 1?
Mission : Impossible.
Yes.
No 1. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
It's fantastic. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
That's the first takeaway. It's definitely a Brian De Palma film from the 90s. With everybody filmed from really low angles.
Yeah.
Wide, which you don't do when you have attractive people because it makes them look weird.
Yeah. I think I said to you in one of the breaks that I can see when people do sort of, commentary tracks on movies, they pick bad ones. Not because there's more to make fun of, but because if you've got a good movie, it becomes really tempting to just sit there and watch the movie.
Which we did for quite a bit. sat in silence, enjoying it and absorbing.
How does it compare to because you're a noted fan of the sort of modern Mission Impossible.
Ghost Protocol is my favourite, for sure.
How does the sort of first entry compare? Because, I mean, I've only seen the first and the second one, and I always believed that the first one was very different from the rest of them.
Yes, that's for sure. It's very different. It's quieter in a way, and plot focused, definitely. Even though the plot was a lot simpler than we remembered.
Yeah, so that was the whole reason behind doing this, was to see if the plot actually makes any sense. And I've come to the conclusion that it actually makes perfect sense.
Yes.
It's not as convoluted as, I mean, you read reviews from the time, and they're like, yeah, the film doesn't make any sense, but you're just along for the ride. But in actual fact, the film does make perfect sense, but I would argue that it doesn't make enough clear sense on the first viewing.
Okay. Like, if you don't know what's going on.
If you don't already have an idea of what's going on, which you and I did because we've already seen the movie, us knowing having a rough idea of what was going on allowed us to make connections as we were watching. Because when you and I were discussing it during the watching of the movie, and we'd be like, oh, okay, so that's why that happens later on. Whereas somebody watching it for the first time wouldn't have that. They would just be like, well, why is so-and-so doing that? Why are they doing that? So maybe that's why so many reviewers at the time said this movie doesn't really make any sense, because to them it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense on the first time as it's going, because you're just watching everybody and listening and enjoying it.
Yes.
Whereas we're sitting there going, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would argue that for the type of movie that it is, which is a fairly generic spy action thriller with a sense of fun and humour, it really shouldn't be the type of movie you have to watch twice to understand.
Oh God, no.
That doesn't make it a bad movie. I'm just saying I can see why people at the time reacted by saying, yeah, it's fun, just don't think about it too hard or you'll see how little sense it makes.
Yeah, except it does make sense.
Except it does make sense, but only upon a second viewing.
Yes.
Well, I guess that just about wraps it up then, doesn't it?
It does. It was good fun. Good fun to sit and watch a film with you, because we don't get to see each other that very often, much because of work and shit.
Yeah, and dogs.
Work and dogs.
So we're going to do Mission Impossible 2?
I'd love to do the whole series.
Yeah.
Mainly because I've got so much to say about Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, I bet you can't wait. Maybe we should leave that one until last.
Or just skip 2 and 3 and just go straight to 4. That'd be great.
No, I always wanted to see 3 for reasons I'll go into when we get to 3. But yeah, I guess we'll see you next time for Mission Impossible 2.
We definitely just have to do 2.
Yeah, we have to get it out of the way.
Because there's... Get it out of the way.
Oh, it's garbage. It's rubbish.
I'm excited to talk about it, but I'm not excited to watch it again.
Yeah, okay. Well, that'll be fun. All right, I'll see you next time.